Alright, everybody, I want to welcome everybody back to World War Wall here at the Wall Stadium for CWRL. I appreciate you all joining us here. I am the Geekaroo 1986, and we are about to begin the final matchup in round 2. We have the King's Court taking on the Candymen. And just for a small note here, I did not update the points properly to you guys for Boogity Boogity Racing. They scored 60 points in that prior round, moving on to the finals, to bring them up to 142 points as they go into the finals to take on either the Candymen or the King's Court here. Now, those 60 points were 25 points for winning the heat race, as the checkers car did actually pull it off there in the last moment. Then you got 9 points for the 3 traffic jammers that were put a lap down, and the remaining points were all from laps led from Boogity Boogity Racing. That being said, let's get this order set
Drivers,
up with
to your cars.
qualifying. And you got the King's Court checker car on the pole here. So good opportunity for them to score some points early on and close this gap up. That'll be between them and Boogity Boogity Racing. Because right now, these teams aren't really not just competing against each other. They're competing against who they're going to be facing coming up in the final round. So we have 15 minutes on the clock. Fingers crossed for everybody. And let's
Drivers,
have
to your
good, strong, solid matchup.
Drivers, to
Once again, I want to thank everybody here for joining us here at CWRL's World War Wall. You got the pace car here on the backstretch. The wrecker and checker cars are taking the first 2 rows, as is tradition. And you got the pace car off, the green flag up in the air. Let the final matchup in the second segment. And so far, the checker car has kept his early lead here over the checker car from Candymen. So the checker cars are both 1-2 right now. But first blood has been drawn from the King's Court as they need to catch up and lead at least 4 laps here. And we are working the third so far, so that's 2 down and 2 more to go to tie the Candymen in score, as they came here with a really small advantage over the Candymen. And with the 5th lap being started, that gap has been closed, and both teams are now officially tied at 40 apiece. Candymen trying to catch up here to the King's Court leaders. This checker car is showing the way early on here. We complete 5 laps and working on the 6th lap. About to complete it now. These laps are about 10 seconds, so the moment that you say something, something can change. This track is very high speed, very unpredictable, arguably one of the fastest third miles we've ever seen. And the King's Court is continuing and continuing to add points now to the lead that they now hold over the Candymen. With every lap led is another point added to that total, and now the King's Court is just going to be able to pull away here. And if they're able to lead all of these laps and score victory points, even after going through a pit cycle, then without a doubt, the King's Court could wind up ahead of Boogity Boogity Racing when it comes to who has the advantage in the final round here at World War Wall. Working on lap 12 as we speak right now. The King's Court checker car still showing the way here over the checker car for the Candymen. In a distant third, you got a traffic jammer who's performing quite well for the Candymen, a wrecker for for the Kingsport, and rounding out the top 5, you got the wrecker for the Candymen. So these checker cars are far away from help, as they are going pretty much one-on-one right now. You got the checker car here for the Kingsport starting to come up onto lap traffic, but I was going to say, unfortunately for him, it looks like a lot of that lap traffic is his own team. And that's bad news for him, as that means that the Candymen are going to be able to take advantage of those points. That's 6 points that's right in front of them, under a straightaway ahead right now, as the checker car for the Kingsport works another lap onto the board, completing 18 laps, getting 18 points. Now working on lap 19, up in the high groove here, as the checkers car is starting to run him down from the Candyman, looking to score points of his own as we work lap 20. The checkers car is closed up here onto the back bumper as we come up onto these traffic jammers, and this can make all the difference. These traffic jammers can hold up the pace enough in one groove to allow the Candyman to take advantage here on the bottom groove, and he's looking on the inside, and he's got that run. He's working down the straightaway, but the Kingsport held the lead for that lap. Now, Candyman going to see what they're able to do with the lead here, with not so much clean air, and see if he can work the lap traffic a little bit better than the checker car from the Kingsport did. Those traffic jammers, they're not only points, they can hold you up. As you can see now, the checker car running in second spot behind the checker car for the Candymen. And you can tell that a traffic jammer has just gotten lapped, and that is 3 points to the Candymen, as they add to this total now. With every additional point they lead it, with lap they lead, they get more points. And with every additional car they lap, they get more points. Now you got the checker car on the back bumper of another traffic jammer, and I have spoken too soon, as it looks like the checker car is about to lose this lead to the Kingsport. Kingsport reassuming the point, going to start scoring points once again, and adding to the lead that they had just established from their dominating at least first 20 laps led here already in this heat. And we are down to about a little under 10 minutes on the clock, about 9.5 minutes as we speak, and the checkers car for the Kingsport leading the way over the checkers car for the Candymen. Both cars have led laps here. Both cars have scored points, and both cars are looking to score more points as we keep running into these traffic jammers, and they get put a lap down time and again. And as we are talking now, once again, the lead has been taken back by the Candyman, and he will go and he will cross the start-finish line, leading another lap and adding a point to their total. They are now on a mission. They have to close the gap that the Kingsport has established early on here. Originally, they had a 4-point lead, but that lead was easily erased within the first few minutes of this heat, as we are down to 8.5 minutes remaining in this 15-minute heat. The Candymen leading the way, scoring more points over the Kingsport, hoping to make a comeback here. One of these teams hoping to score 25 precious victory points that they will very likely need to go on and face Team Boogity Boogity Racing, who has 142 points so far on the day. And don't forget, when final points are tallied, they are automatically doubled, as this is one of the bigger events for CWRL. And I'm glad that you guys are all here sticking with us here today, as the checkers car here for the Candymen continue to show the way, continue to lead laps and close the gap on the Kingsport, who has closed the gaps early on here, but that won't be relevant if they can't get the checker car for the Candymen back out of the lead. You can see right now, Candymen trying to work on the checker car here, who has been leading now for a lap or so, and they are trying to work on lap traffic and the traffic jammers. See, these traffic jammers are definitely able to hold up the leaders long enough to allow second place to make a run for the pass. Meanwhile, back in third, you got a traffic jammer for the Candymen, leading the way over the record cars here for the Candymen and the King's Court. So the record cars here not really being a factor in this heat race right now. As you can see, that checkers car trying to work that lap traffic, and that traffic jammer gave him a little bit of resistance, being squeezed down there to the bottom of the track. And now let's see if the Candymen can score 3 points here, putting this car a lap down. And they are going to easily do it as they go into turns 1 and 2. We got 6.5 minutes remaining as the checkers car for the Candymen tries to run down the leader and reassume the lead, start scoring points again. It might be very likely that this comes down to whoever gets those 25 victory points at the conclusion of the heat race, which will be in the next 6 minutes. Thank you all once again for sticking with us. I am the Geek Guru 1986, and you are watching CWRL's World War Wall. Once again, the checker car for the Candymen is running second place behind the checker car for the King's Court, who's currently adding more points to their total to that slim lead that they currently hold over the Candymen. Both teams have led significant laps here in this heat race, scoring significant points for their teams, and both teams have scored points from putting traffic jammers a lap down, I believe. Or no, so far only the Candymen have. And now you can see that the lead has been given back up to the Candymen as the King's Court checker car was running in the very, very high groove, almost out of the groove as it were. And you can see that they are now working on more traffic jammers. This time traffic jammers for the Candymen. So if the King's Court is able to pass these cars, he will be able to score points as well for lapping cars, which is 3 points per traffic jammer. And that would be 1 lap that the checker car for the King's Court leads as he reassumes the point going into turn 1 and 2 and out of 3 and 4, leading yet 1 more lap as we are under 4.5 minutes now in this heat race, the final heat race of round 2 here at World War Wall. The winner of this heat race is going to go on to face Boogity Boogity Racing, who currently holds 142 points from their prior 2 heat races. Their first heat race was very impressive with 82 points, and their second they came home with 60 points for still an impressive showing. They're definitely going to be able to jump forward in points, as even possibly if the Candymen can't pull this off, they might be able to surpass the Candymen and get into the 4th point position if they're able to make good with this event. Right now, the King's Court, trying to add to their points lead, trying to close the gap between them and the Intimidators, who are in first place still with 600 points if you include the points that they've gotten from this event today. They are only able to get 20 points from losing in the first round, and having those points doubled from the 10 points that losers in the first round normally get. So, time-wise, we are at 3 minutes left in this event, here in this heat race, as the Candyman checkers car is showing the way. In second place, you've got the checkers car for the King's Court. In a distant third place, you have the traffic jammer car for the Candyman. Looks like he's a little over half a lap down, which is insane. Meanwhile, you can see that the checkers car Kingsport has just scored 3 points from passing a traffic jammer from the Candymen, trying to drive down that leader. One of these two trying to get the 25 victory points that they're probably going to need to advance into the finals to face Boogity Boogity Racing as we come into the final 2 minutes. The Candymen up on the high groove, giving a run to the Kingsport, and the Kingsport is about to reassume the point without a little bit of resistance. Taking the point once again will be the Kingsport checker car. We have a little under 2 minutes remaining here as they are continuing to work this lap traffic, these traffic jammers here. Meanwhile, fifth and fourth, you have the wrecker cars here for each respective team, and the leader is working on the 7th place car, which is a traffic jammer for the Candyman right now. 3 more points for the Kingsport as we go into the turn, and we are down to 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining here. Kingsport putting on one hell of a clinic, one hell of a comeback. But the checkers car here, assuming the lead, and we have pit stops underway as we freeze the clock for pit stops. And to complete the pit cycle, any laps that these cars lead, though, they will still be counted as points, but we will complete the pit cycles before we resume the clock and complete the heat race here at World War Wall in the final matchup of round 2. Now, these cars are going to all cycle around before we resume the clock, and you can see that the checkers car from the Kingsport is just completely pulled away, as it looks like the Candyman's car just completely pulled off and is now on pit road and pulled off early. So that's going to be a massive disadvantage for them. As you look, and you now see the leader coming into pit road. And as these cycles are complete, and the final car emerges from pit road, we will resume the clock and let this heat race conclude as it should. You can see former leader coming off here. And he has just rammed himself into the wall. Probably going to reset himself back onto pit road. As you can see, more cars coming in. And unfortunately, that's not good news for him, as he has just been lapped multiple times by the checker car for the Candymen, who has now reassumed the lead. So when these final cars here clear off of pit road, we're going to get everything reset up, and we are going to reset the clock. And it looks like that is the final car off pit road, minus whatever tow time he gets. So we will resume the clock at this point. As you can see, the checker car and the wrecker car here for Boogity Boogity Race. And oh goodness, the entire, oh no, goodness, we have a very rare occasion here, folks. A very rare occasion that the checker car has just exercised. The round is immediately over, as the entire team of the King's Court is solidly 1 lap down and holding at 1 lap down. The heat race immediately ends. We will tally the final total, including laps led by each opposing team. And because this victory was achieved through this method, the victory points have been doubled again. They will be 50 victory points to be doubled for this special moment. Stay with us as we tabulate the points here. The pit cycle made all the difference as these teams had poor pit stops. He raced 85 laps, and that's -16. 24 points for leading laps. Oh, that's going to hurt them harshly. 15 points for every single lap that checker car has been put down. And unfortunately for them, that's 6 times. And that's 90 points. So, 24 points for laps left. 590. That's 114. 15. 16. 136. Damn. Plus 50, 136 plus 50 is 186 points. Good Lord, Candymen. They not only crushed the King's Court, but they are now coming in with 226 points just into the final round alone. And they have so much potential to earn so many more points. It's insane. So it'll be Team Boogity 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 challenging the Candymen, and surprisingly, Team Boogity 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 is actually the one with the disadvantage of a little over 80 points. I think it's 84 points that the Candymen have over Team Boogity Boogity Racing. Meanwhile, let's get the final total of 0 for the King's Court. Well, except for the laps they led. So there is that. So, good for them for being able to actually lead. But it did not last as their car wound up. So, 51 points. Damn. Just from leading laps. So, they will leave with 87 points on the day. So, that's still not a bad points day, all things considered. But now it comes down to the final matchup here of World War Wall. And it has been an interesting event. And we have Boogity Boogity Racing taking on the Candymen. And in the final round, there are going to be 20 minutes on the clock. So lots of time to score points for them. But this is absolutely unbelievable. The Candymen pulled off a very rare win condition where they are able to opt out of the heat race by having successfully lapped the entire team on the opponent's end. Although it took pit cycles to do it, at the end when the pit cycle was complete, those cars were all a lap down, and he maintained it. So he was able to opt out, and the Candymen, instead of getting 25 victory points, were able to leave with 50 victory points. And were able to go into the final round with an 84-point lead over Boogity Boogity Racing. So let us get that set up, and we will be right back after a few moments. Stay with us.